Hello and welcome to a new series called Gay Life Abroad. I'm making this series because some of you ask what it is like living abroad in other countries, especially people from countries where being gay is a difficult place to be and you're being persecuted. So this is my little series in different languages, hopefully in Hindi and Punjabi as well, in living in countries that I've lived in and countries that I know of. Yeah. So the first country would be the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So that is where I'm from. I'm from England, which is part of the UK, and I want to explain to you what has my experience been of being gay in this country. So let's start firstly with the big scale of things and then we'll go on to the smaller things. So on a big scale of things, we have gay marriage here and rights for LGBT people. So you are protected by laws, the government, and the police are also protecting LGBT people. So if anything happens to you with family, friends or anyone else, you can lodge a complaint and get protection. You can get legal protection, and there's many places to get support, such as if you want to get sexual testing done, for any infections, or you need any help if you're transgender with transitioning. You can get psychological mental help and support for any LGBT persons in the UK. So the benefits on a political and a legal scale are very good. And then if you look at it from more so like a religious perspective, so the UK is a society which has the Church of England as the main religion. However, the Church of England is quite progressive and open-minded, and LGBT people are not seen as like evil or sinful people, so that is good. And further than that, the other religions that there are in this country, because it's a multicultural country, so you've got every single religion probably and every type of person from the world living here. So you do have communities and groups who may not like LGBT people. However, legally they cannot discriminate and you can take action against them. So this can affect people of minority backgrounds, for example, or anyone who dates someone from a minority background or from a religious background, for example. Maybe if you date someone who's a Catholic or maybe a conservative Orthodox Jew, for example, as well. So in that respect, for communities, like for myself, for example, I'm Indian and I was born in the UK, and the Indian community sometimes there can be people in there who don't agree with homosexuality, so you can get backlash that way, or they don't want to talk about these issues thinking they don't exist. Religiously, the Indian religions actually don't say anything negative about homosexuality, so culturally, yes, it can have an impact. And the same can be true for certain black communities or Muslim communities as well. So that is the political, legal, and then the religious perspective. And then if we look at social and community perspectives, there's loads of LGBT centres where you can go to get support and help, where they have many different things happening. There's loads of NGOs, there's loads of groups and communities where you can go to meet people. So on that sort of communities perspective, there is a lot of things there, especially if you live in the big cities. In the village and outside rural countryside, it might be less. And then we move on to individuals, so dating, gay scene. So most big cities in the UK have gay scenes or gay areas where you can go in the city, where you can see bars, restaurants and meet people. Yeah. So this is my experience. I have experienced considerable amount of racism in the UK, especially from the gay community, which I didn't expect. So when I first went out to gay clubs and bars, I was confronted with basically white guys only wanting to date white guys. And you can say, okay, in the straight community as well, people tend to date their own, and that's kind of a norm. But I didn't expect the gay community to be so blatantly racist and discriminatory. I would see constant advertisements and on dating profiles where they would say they're looking for a white guy only. So now there is more, it's more subtle racism. So on dating apps and things like that, they used to write white only or no Asians, no blacks. They're less likely to write that now, and they just ignore or delete or block. So they're, if you're coming from another country and you think, oh yes, I want to go to the West. Now this is an issue not only in the UK, it's a Western European, it's a European and American, North American issue, okay? So by coming here, please do understand that racism is existing, it's rampant, and a lot of white men, for example, in the gay community, will only date white men. That, you know, this is my experience, you may disagree, but the majority of them, from my experience, will do that. So in that sense, if you're coming to the UK thinking that you're going to be living this very liberalized, modern, accepted lifestyle, do not think that. Do not come under false pretenses. The LGBT community, especially the community that's minority, has other issues we face with. In the UK, gay white men have a lot of privileges now compared to what they used to have. But, you know, lesbian women, transgender, bisexual individuals, and especially people of colour in those subsectionalities experience a lot of discrimination. So that's how the hierarchy works, doesn't it? Because like you've got male and then female, and then you've got white, and then, you know, other races, and then you've got all the genders and sexualities and everything in between that. So unfortunately, at the moment, we are not at an equal heavenly place in the UK or in the West of the world, right? So if you are running away from persecution and discrimination in your country, yes, when you come here, you know, you will have structures in place and law and politics and community groups where you can go to get support, but don't expect that here life is perfect and rosy and that discrimination doesn't happen. You may experience discrimination at work, you may experience discrimination when getting housing, you may experience discrimination when getting representation for anything like a court case or anything that you're doing. There's going to be people still harboring that stereotype, that prejudice, that racism, that homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, gender discrimination will still be there, unfortunately. So I just wanted to make it clear that yes, on a whole, we have progressed. We have progressed politically, legally, and community-wise. There is groups out there. However, the mentality of individuals and people still remains stuck, and there are still huge problems in the West. And you would have noticed that by protests that have been happening in 2020 regarding racism. So there is a lot of fetishization of minorities, and there is a lot of discrimination as well, unfortunately. However, not to dishearten you, there are positives as well. You can create your own niche, your own area, and your own sort of experience and your own community and work alongside that. It can be infuriating at times when you're not allowed into other areas and other aspects of life that you believe that you would contribute to perfectly well and even more so and add a lot of value. But unfortunately, that is people's narrow-mindedness at the moment. Things are starting to change, but we're at the first steps, especially to do with race. So that was my experience. So acknowledge it's my personal experience, my personal views. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a generic, and you may have had a different experience. And if you've had a better experience, I am so grateful and thankful and happy for you. And if you have another experience, then that's fine. Feel free to share and comment. Share this video with people who you think may benefit. Comment below and have a dialogue. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. And of course, everyone has an entitlement to think the way they want, and everyone has their own individual experience, which we cannot discount. So you cannot discount my personal experience in this instant either. Thank you very much. and the next video will be about another country. Take care.